everyone. Welcome back to the Late to the Game channel. I'm Ellie, and you can find me at Elementally on everything. And here with me, as always, I have...
Ned.
Ned!
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and you can find him at Ned Kelly Gamer, GMR.
You can. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, it's still Christmas in this house.
Might be our last episode before Christmas, although
Yes.
I think we're aiming to have an episode out between Christmas and New Year's.
We'll see.
Is probably the plan. Our next episode will be focused on our Game Awards.
Of the Year awards.
Yeah. Which, if anyone heard our Game of the Year awards before, it's like definitely not games that came out in 2023.
No, it's the games we played.
In
the
2023.
competition is very skewed, and specifically our experience.
Exactly, which is what everyone's Game of the Year awards should be, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what games did you play that year? But we'll get to that on the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what have you been playing, or what have you been up to? If you're not ready to talk games just yet.
No, I am. I've been playing. For my 5th run through, I have started Uncharted again.
That deserves explanation.
Yeah.
He has not played them on his own 5 times. He has been the shaman of these games. He has been the passenger.
I've played the whole series twice.
Okay.
And I have accompanied you on your journey.
Yes.
I have accompanied Ryan, our son, on his journey. And now I'm starting with Faye, our daughter, who is 10, 11 in a few weeks.
And she has been playing so much Fortnite for the last year, which I have my problems with. But it means she's too good at the game. The first person or the third person shooter aspect of it, she's like...
Yeah.
She's trying to think too hard.
These Uncharted AI haven't a hope. They are lambs to the slaughter, which is Faye, right now at the moment. She is getting frustrated with the AI though, because
it populates depending on where you step. It's not that you have opponents running around in a battle royale.
They don't act like humans would act, and that's been funny to watch her do that. Yeah. One of the funniest moments in the last couple of days has been I wanted her to go and get her dinner. I had her dinner made, and she's like, "Oh, I'll be there in a second, Dad." And it's like, Faye, I need you to come and have your dinner now. And she's like, "Let me just hide my character." I was like, Faye, you can pause the game.
Yeah.
She's like, oh.
These are not with people. And even if you just cleared the camp and you were Nathan Drake, no one will find you again. Not unless the save somehow resets. You will not. You would be fine to just stand there for 20 minutes.
But it's been really funny to watch her after. I came to Fortnite and online gaming like that much later after having most of my life playing single player games.
Right.
So it's really funny to watch Faye, who has been playing so much online shooter games. And I will say it's a reasonable amount.
It's a personal disappointment, not because she actually plays too much. It's just because there are so much things that I want her to experience.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always saying to her to play real games. Get off that game and play real games.
And actually, a point to that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, Fortnite's a real game. You're dead fucking right. It is a real game, and it's very well fleshed out, and it's successful for a reason. But one thing we're very excited about is that she has decided to no longer subscribe to Fortnite, and she's going to be getting a PS Plus subscription so she can play more games. And that was a decision she came to all on her own.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And Uncharted is kind of the start of that journey for her. I think it's a really good, and it was for Ryan too.
She has seen all 3 of us play it as well. She's seen me, she's seen Ryan, and she's seen you play it, I think.
Yeah, she probably hasn't seen me play it actually. Yeah, I'm probably just aiding and abetting everyone else.
Aiding and abetting.
But it's a great series for her to play. It's it's very adventure like, and the story's great, and it's a real popcorn game.
That's always what we say, right? It's it is the equivalent of watching an action movie and eating popcorn the entire time. It just feels good.
Which is why it's fun for me to play this game so many times with other people, so she's having a great time with it. I think the last time that I watched someone play it was in 2021. Was it 2020? Yeah.
I did play Lost Legacy this year.
Yeah.
But the rest of the games were a couple
the
years
first
ago.
one though was probably 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And Well, I remember
early
looking at it
21.
in 2020 going, well, this hasn't aged badly.
I also think that. I still think
but I'm
that. I
playing
haven't seen
this
it again.
playthrough.
Yeah.
This playthrough has made me think differently on that.
Yeah. Is it because we just played Last of Us?
Maybe.
Is that
But
part of the
mind you, I mean,
departure?
the version of The Last of Us that we played was the remaster PS3 version. So we didn't play Last of Us Part 1.
I thought it was PS4.
It was remastered for PS4,
see.
but it originally came out on PS3, and it was remastered then for PS4.
Gotcha.
But we didn't play the most recent.
No, we didn't play like the
remake
magnificent.
of of Part 1, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not really comparing it to. I'm not comparing it to this generation, but yeah, it's not even in the graphics, although that is obviously has dated. But it's in the AI and it's in the shooter.
Oh, sure.
I actually do think that because I've been playing so much Fortnite with the kids, that actually that has ruined me a little bit for
sure.
third-person
Yeah.
shooters. Because whatever we say about Fortnite, it's a fun shooter. It's very capable at what it does.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably part of it too.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I'm looking forward. Like we're a couple of hours into the first game. I have a long
road ahead.
journey ahead with Faye until we finish the fourth game again. She is playing it on my profile, so I'm hoping to pick up some more of those
You're
trophies.
ridiculous.
But
Get her to play it on Crushing for you.
she'd be well able.
She would.
She would. All of that Fortnite practice. But that's me. I mean, as usual, I'm not playing anything. I am aiding others in their gaming. I am the sage that help you all on your journeys.
Our gaming oracle.
What have you been playing?
So, I have been wanting to. So firstly, I played a few more hours of, I almost said Dredge, of Far Changing Tides.
Oh yeah. Do you think you're close to finishing it?
I have to be like 40 minutes away from the end. Like I have to be. But like there was one day where I just like played it, and our foster dog Zara was like just sleeping on me, and I was like just dead to the world, like playing it.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
It was great. But then I stopped and I was like, I need to be done now for a minute. Like it was just, it had reached a point where I was like, this was too long.
And you've never returned.
I mean, it's only been like a week, okay? But I want to return because it's very good, and it makes a lot of salient points, and I will finish it, and then I will talk about it, because if I talk about it now, I definitely won't finish it. But the other thing that I've been playing, because I've been wanting to just dissociate completely, is Power Wash Simulator.
I've
been itching to play this game.
If you haven't listened to the podcast before, like you've been waiting to get this game for quite some time.
For some time. And
was it everything that you had built it up to be?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It does actually scratch that itch?
It does, yeah. I mean, it's more like...
So what were you looking to get out of it? Like when you're looking at a game like that going, man, I want to power wash stuff on a game. Like I get it, but like you tell me what it is that you were looking to get out of that.
So, okay. I mean, firstly, there is the just niceness of making things clean, you know? I think it's like the gaming version of when you like buy stationery and highlighters and Post-its and stuff like that. It's like, I have my life in order. That's what these things mean, you know? And with Power Wash Simulator, it was like, I knew I'd be able to just completely shut my brain off while still accomplishing a task that made me feel good. Because watching stuff get clean in that way is really, really nice. And I mean, it's a good podcast game.
Would it be as therapeutic if you were in a house that wasn't clean? Because I can imagine there's people out there, right, that love this game. Well, no, they love this game and like they've platinumed the game and they live in a mess.
That's horrible. I don't like that concept at all. Our house is very clean, and it's because I need that to function.
Right. So Power Wash Simulator for you is like
Making
more of
to
that.
rights.
Like I get more of that experience of cleaning. But I'm just wondering, is there people out there?
I mean, there has to be. Just even like
you wouldn't feel
statistically.
comfortable playing that game if the house already wasn't clean, right?
No. No, I don't think so. But I definitely wouldn't have drawn that connection like of my own volition. I don't think.
I just wonder, because there's so many great Sims out there that people love playing. I'm not a big Sim player, but like, there's...
This is my first one, to be fair.
Right.
Like Lawnmower Simulator, couldn't give a shit about it. Don't want to play that in the slightest. I don't think it sounds fun.
That's funny, right? Like, but a similar concept, like very, very similar concept, but one appeals to you and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
Is it because you like actually power washing rather than...
I've never done power washing, but
but you like the idea?
I like how much it accomplishes. It feels like a very effective tool.
Whereas when you cut grass, I mean, it's still grass.
When I cut grass, I'm sweaty. My shoes are stained. There's more shit to pick up after it's done.
It smells beautiful.
I mean, that's the only benefit.
Yeah.
And then my neighbors don't like come knocking on my door being like, are you gonna mow your lawn? It's like, fuck off, Debbie. No. But, anyways.
There's no Debbie in Power Wash Simulator?
No.
No.
But besides Power Wash Simulator, which is a great game, and it's a great game to just like, here's one thing though, I will say. It's a great game for podcast listening, obviously, or just putting on like a dumb stream or something and just dissociating that way. But it's loud. Like it's
loud?
Yeah. What I mean, like it makes sense if you're in like a contained space or whatever and you're power washing something.
Have you tried messing around with the settings on the game to like?
I just turned the volume down on the TV.
Yeah,
there's nothing I need to hear in the game. It's not like anyone. There's no plot, you know. I mean, there's like a loose plot that you have an old van that you clean up and you're suddenly becoming a power washing person. And I think as well, like...
You're going to like upgrade your power washing equipment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
You can upgrade all of your equipment and like the soaps that you use and like certain soaps for certain materials that you're cleaning and stuff. And I don't know. But one of the things that it does really, really well to make it really gratifying, I was ready to move on and now I've come back. But one of the things that it makes it really gratifying is that it has an itemized list of everything that you can clean on a job, and it does it by percentage. And whenever you get down to like only 3 items left, then it'll have like a little to-do list. But up until that point, you're just free reign going around clean. Because like I'm saying that mostly because I'm thinking of, I did a playground recently that was just covered in muck, you know. And it was just like, I saw it, and I was like, that's horrible. And then I was like, look at the masterpiece I will make.
Have you been taking screenshots at the end? When you...
So that's the other thing that they do. They, at the end of your job, once you 100% it, I actually don't know how to finish a job until you 100% it. I don't know how that works. I have not been interested in not 100%ing a thing. So I'm like, what? Am I just going to go power wash somewhere else and be like, great. You know, like, why not finish it completely? But once you're finished, it gives you like a 30-second video of your progress and like your route through it. So you see it covered in grime and then you see your...
So like a highlights reel.
Or it's just footage of you, but really fast.
Okay.
But
in case you haven't gotten enough from this power washing
No, just to make sure that you really see the contrast, because that's the issue whenever you're doing things, right? Like you see your own progress, and that's why it's not as big of an effect. But whenever you see the video and you're like, whoa.
That's what it used to look like. Yeah, get that.
So it's very gratifying. They're very good at like pinging the little like dopamine centers in your brain.
Have you got enough out of that game yet? Do you think it's something that you will return to?
I think it's something I'll return to like on like a sporadic, but
just depending on where you're at, like where you're.
Yeah, like if I want to play a game and there's no media that I really want to like sit and consume. Then I think that, like, if I've got no show that I want to watch or anything like that, or nothing that I really want to fully commit to, it's a good game to play.
Well, I mean... But
besides that, this is the real meat of it all.
Well, before you even mention that, though, for anyone that does want to play Power Wash Simulator,
this is the devastating thing.
The day after Ellie bought it.
I waited for months to buy this game.
You may already know this if you're listening to the podcast, but it is one of the 3 games on PS Plus this month on PlayStation Plus.
You can get that for free now, not €25.
So go download it and have the same experience as Ellie did, but
for free.
You know, for free. So well, yes, the meat of what both of us have been playing actually over the last.
So probably the reason that I needed a counterbalance with Power Wash Simulator.
That's a good counterbalance.
Yeah, it's a great counterbalance. Is
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. We've been playing Baldur's Gate 3.
We couldn't wait. I mean, as much as we like to say on this channel that we are late to the game, we couldn't wait any longer.
We're a little late to this game.
We are, but not to the point where we would be able to save any money on the purchase of it.
No, correct.
We needed to get into it because myself and Ellie have been on a D&D Obsession.
Yeah.
Lately?
For like, no, not even lately, just like a year.
Yeah, but probably about last year.
And I've been obsessed with it for like 2.5 years.
We don't really get a chance to
Maybe
play D&D because we don't have anyone else apart from the two of us to
We have
play
no
with
friends.
us. Yeah. But we recently started a 2-player campaign, which has been fun. We might talk about that again. And we listened to a huge amount of
D&D
D&D podcasts, particularly one called Stinky Dragon.
Tales from the Stinky Dragon. I
From
think
the
I've mentioned
Dragon.
it briefly on here before.
We have, and I think at some stage we'll probably do a whole podcast on D&D at some stage.
A podcast on the D&D podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So Baldur's Gate was like, this is an itch we've got to scratch.
Yeah.
And I came over on Thanksgiving.
Because it's a way for us to have a campaign together, and in a world that we don't have to make up, you know, and like just get to actually explore like the D20 system, which is so great because
the game gets to be our dungeon master without having to find anyone else to do that.
And the narrator of that game is so good.
Excellent.
She's so
all the voice acting is actually excellent.
All of it. Yeah. All the voice acting is unbelievable, and like the pansexual in me gets very excited about every personality that I meet, because I'm like, whoa, you're haunting and strange and different.
Who's your favorite?
Oh,
maybe we get into that in a moment.
Yeah, I want us to do like a little highlights reel of Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
And then the actual meat of the conversation, this is the starter to it, is that I want to discuss with you what defines to you like what an RPG should be, what an actually good RPG is. And namely, we want to talk about that because Final Fantasy 16 has lingered on and been very disappointing for us.
As an RPG,
And we haven't been able to get really back into it, which is why we played every other game that we've got instead of it. But highlights reel of Baldur's Gate 3.
We're not even through Act 1 of it yet.
And it's
so we are very early into
the other reason that we're not through Act 1 is because we are playing a campaign together and solo campaigns.
Yeah. So let's talk about our own characters that we created. So in our campaign together, I am a gnome bard called Orwin, and he's very squishy. But he is very charming and he's very flamboyant. And I'm trying to play him as a character who is... His first and foremost characteristic is that he's inquisitive.
Okay.
So if there's an opportunity to ask a question as a dialogue answer, he'll always ask the question. But also he'll go places that he probably shouldn't go. Curiosity killed the cat. That is the story of Orwin.
An owlbear almost killed the cat recently.
Yeah. So I think I am playing him very well for that reason. I think it's worked really well.
Yeah.
And your character
my character is a non-binary person called Nyx. They are the most beautiful thing I think I've ever made in my entire life. Like purple skin, really cool bronze, like swirled kind of horns that end, I think, in like an ash colored tip. And they've got like bronze scales just throughout their face, and 2 demon flame eyes, 1 purple, 1 gold, and they're a sorcerer. So sorcerer tiefling. Very, very cool. I'm trying to play them as if they're like... Too cool for school is definitely not it.
Like
but
distant though.
A little distant, like a little cautious. Still inquisitive, but just kind of, I think, reserved. I think that's kind of the idea for them. It's
real contrast to my character, Orwin. And then what is your solo character then?
My solo character, her name is Limerelle. She is a drow. A drow druid.
Which are like night elves.
Yeah. She's a dark elf.
Yeah, dark elf.
She's a big lady. I made her big and strong. And her druid stuff is pretty cool. Love wild shape. That was namely the reason I wanted to play a druid, was so that I could be magic and I could be like a barbarian at the same time, you know? Like I love that I've got all like the benefit of magic casting.
While still being big and strong.
While still being able to be like, I need more HP. I'll be a bear now, you know? So I really, really like playing that. And I think like playing a campaign together is great. But there is something that's really nice about getting to play on your own because you've got your whole party to control yourself and you have all the tactics in your head and everyone's going to cooperate with your tactics. Yeah. You know? No, whereas, and that's like sometimes you and I go into battle and it's like we try to coordinate it, we try to make sure we're taking like proper turns and stuff, but then like one of us is like, I have an idea and I have to do it this way. And we're like, I also had an idea, but sure.
Well, one of the fun things about playing an RPG though is that sense of control, and so I think we're doing pretty well for as we're playing it together. But I've also found that solo run to offer me something that our multiplayer campaign.
And tell the viewers at home about my
solo character. So
there's a lot of backstory to this man.
There is. So my solo character is someone that I want to play as a D&D character at some point.
And like a proper campaign.
So he is a mix between, if you know the main character from Train Spotting that Ewan McGregor plays, he is somewhere between that character and then if you know the Discworld novels by Terry Pratchett. There is a wizard who's the very first Discworld novel is called The Colour of Magic, and there's a set of characters in that novel that appear in lots of other books in the series as well. But the main character in that's called Rincewind, who is a down and out, down on his luck charlatan of a wizard. Okay. Who just finds himself after getting real lucky finding a very rich and stupid guy that wants to hire him.
Great.
And it's great. And he's a brilliant character. So my character, Rupert Berlioz is his name.
Rupert Berlioz? Yeah. I didn't know there was a composer.
And we have a second name as well, yeah. Rupert Berlioz, his character, his family call him Roops. Is a sorcerer and
a human sorcerer, right?
A human sorcerer, which not many people play humans when they play these games, because it's a bit boring. But Roop's backstory is enough to keep him going. I won't get into much more of the backstory of him because we'd be here for a long time. But I will say that one of the things I would have liked for Baldur's Gate to be able to do is to create characters that like. Their bodies don't look perfect. Yeah. Like you have the choice between being a small man and a big man, a small woman, big woman, and then you can choose to identify, as anything you want. But you don't get the opportunity to have like a broken body,
you don't get to make yourself malformed.
I would love to have a very thin, like gaunt. Character for Roops. He has a really like hard backstory.
No, I think that's a really good point.
And even his small character, like I tried making him look old, and I tried to do things with his eyes to kind of make him look gaunt, but he still looks hot. And I don't really want him to look hot. Although Ewan McGregor looked kind of hot still in Train Spotting. So
he would.
But yeah, I think it's. I mean, I don't have many complaints about the game, honestly. No. But I would have liked to have some other character body models, I think.
No, that's a fair criticism, I think. Yeah. And like even just for, like I mean, I definitely wouldn't stray as far as calling it like an ableist kind of ideal, but like it is. I can see the argument on both sides, like the benefits of being like, there's only 4 body types, and then definitely I can see the negatives of being like, but what if a disabled person wants to feel represented in some way?
Or some sort of slider. I know I get like, maybe the character models don't look great if you have a slider. We don't know enough about games. But yeah, a little bit more variation in the actual body I think might have been important to me from a role-playing point of view. Like I really want to, we should say this, we're not playing this like an RPG, and we'll talk about RPGs in a minute. We're trying to play this as an opportunity to role-play in this world. And the body shape would have been important to me there, But I've got him pretty close. He looks almost what I imagine Roops to look like, So I'm pretty
Roops
happy.
when he's down the line a little bit, straightened out a little.
Exactly. Yeah, has been eating a little bit better and has gone to the gym once or twice, So, but I mean, so we're talking about RPGs.
Yes. And the ingredients that make a good RPG, I think, are so. as everyone who would have been a frequent listener or a regular listener of this podcast knows, like, we're very passionate about storytelling, and I think the format of the storytelling is really, really important. And I think when a game claims to be an RPG, there are certain expectations that I like reasonably have for that. And so I've like, I don't want to bounce off of Final Fantasy 16, but I feel I kind of have. I know we will go back and we will finish it.
For sure. Yeah, I think so.
But the way we're going to finish it is to make it not an RPG, and we're just going to blaze through the main story. Because I think, like, for me, first and foremost, the thing that makes an RPG is its side quests. And if your side quests are garbage, there's no reason for it to be an RPG.
So, RPG, role-playing game. For me, an RPG is the opportunity to embody a character. And I think Final Fantasy 16, for the most part, like, I mean, Clive is a charming character. I prefer him than a lot of the Final Fantasy 16. The Final Fantasy main characters. I mean, Final Fantasy 7 is one of my favorite games of all times. But Cloud, I could strangle him at times.
I love Cloud.
I do. As I've grown older, and particularly with the remake, I do like him more. But Clive, from the get go, very lovable, very
I like
likable,
Clive a lot. Actually,
likable character.
I think he's impressed me in a lot of facets of him.
But we don't get to define him.
No.
So, you know, many RPGs, you fully develop the character. Like, it's not even a character that already has an established story, right? You, like Baldur's Gate or like Skyrim, you develop the character, and therefore you are embodying the role. But then many RPGs, the role is defined, but you still get to have some definition on the choices they make, or at least how they dress. And with Final Fantasy 16, we got no opportunity to do
slutty shimmies and no choices.
Which, you know, he looks great in.
He looks
like
great.
Clive,
Love the slutty shimmies.
awesome. But there's very little opportunity to define who he is. And
so is that a better summation of it then? Not necessarily like the full embodiment of the character is really important, but does an RPG, for you to boil it down very simply, is it being able to make choices?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. And
because if you can't make choices, then I suppose how is it role playing?
For sure, and those choices might be narrative choices. But even if they're not narrative choices, the ability to be able to go into a complex menu and build the character the way that you want, in terms of their fighting style and in terms of how they dress. You may not be able to change too much about their facial features, but something about it needs to be able to give you the idea that it's an RPG. Clearly, Baldur's Gate is an RPG, right?
100%.
It is
full of choices.
It is based on TTRPGs,
Yes.
right? Tabletop RPGs. It is clearly an RPG in the absolute best meaning of the word. But there are other games out there that are also much better RPGs than Final Fantasy 16 that aren't labeled as RPGs. God of War being an example. Yeah. That's a better RPG. I don't think they would ever call it an RPG, but it is a better RPG than Final Fantasy 16.
100%.
You can at least change, you have some choice.
You're fully customizable. And to my point, like the side quests in God of War are fantastic.
And you are right. I know I've kind of jumped over your side quests, but you are right. Side quests are hugely important to me.
I feel since I've started like my gaming journey this time around, I feel pretty like confident about that. Like I think if you have side quests that aren't worth anyone's time, then you didn't need to make it an RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, for
sure. Because it's like, okay, so I get to explore this world that's effectively full of nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
a good example of this as well is that, so The Witcher is a character that's predefined. I mean, Geralt is the most defined character you can possibly have. You don't get to like really define who Geralt is as a man.
No.
But you still would always call that an RPG though. Yeah. You would always call it, because for the two reasons we just mentioned. You get to define how he fights and where to put your points in terms of like, are you going to go more towards your signs?
I mean, obviously Witcher's a great case for that, but like even just like your armor class that you
For
go
sure.
into. Like,
Yeah.
that defines your battle style.
Yeah.
Which that fleshes out a character way more than we've been able to do with...
And then side quests then is like very clearly,
Phenomenal.
I mean, probably the best side quest that have ever been put in a game.
Yeah.
And so for me, even though this is a defined character already, which clearly Baldur's Gate isn't, it's still very much an RPG, you know. And Final Fantasy 16 really fell short on that for us. You know, there are other games out there that I'm sure that claim to be RPGs that fall short of what we would want from them, but we don't get to play many games.
And we don't get to play many RPGs specifically because they're always massive. You know?
And so, unfortunately, we're picking on Final Fantasy 16 this time. There are many things that it does amazingly. It's a stunning game.
Like, the combat's super fun.
I don't think so.
Do you not?
No, not for me. I found it.
You liked it when we played it.
I did, but I really thought that it would
expand more.
I thought it would expand more. I think that was
I think we quit kind of early on it, though.
Yeah, I think if you can cut that silence out.
I don't know. Maybe I won't.
I think in a nutshell, actually, that's my biggest problem with Final Fantasy 16. It started with so much potential, and you're like, I can't wait to see where this is going, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
The item shop never really opens up.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
That is something else that I have my beef with when it comes to RPGs. If your merchants aren't different town to town, like if I don't have to travel to a specific point of the map to get a specific kind of item, why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I get, like, have every merchant have health potions, sure. But, like, make it something that's, like, interesting merchant to merchant, not just like, oh, okay, so I've unlocked this item and now it's available anytime I see this sign on the map. And, like, as well, the weapon building in that game, it's
so
bizarre.
It's so basic.
Like, it's like, okay, so anytime that we get given a weapon, there's literally no other weapon that's going to be better than it until we get given another weapon. Or you buy one and you immediately can upgrade it, and then it's like every stat raises by 25 each time. And it's like, what is the point of this? Like, my character is just fine. Like, like, I don't have any specific weaknesses. I don't have any specific strengths. Like,
well, and the upgrade system is just that too, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I've got a new weapon. It's now it's now 25 points stronger, but then the enemies I'm meeting are 25 points stronger too. So it's like it's just
everything
it's all
is
met.
relative. Yeah.
So, but with an RPG or with a game like Baldur's Gate. It feels almost unfair comparing the two.
I mean,
but
it's
with a
definitely
game like that,
unfair in a lot of
your
ways.
stats aren't necessarily going up all the time. I've barely got a weapon that's better from a statistical point of view than my
for
first
sure.
weapon. But they do slightly different things. So you can really then, like,
there's
from a
different
role-playing
benefits.
point of view,
Yeah.
right, you can go, this is the sort of thing my character would do because there's, like, you know,
sure.
maybe the stats are exactly the same on all three of these weapons, but this one, you know, also makes the target bleed. This one heals me for 4 points when I damage them for 4 points. And,
This
you know,
one
there's
does create water, and maybe that's like, maybe I want to be a water genasi type. Like,
that's
that
way
kind of
more
thing.
interesting
Yeah.
from an item point of view, right? Like,
For sure.
and allows you just to try and, like, think about this idea of role playing. Allows you to make story and narrative choices that the game is not making for you.
Yeah.
You know, like you can have these battles living in your head, and I think that's what an RPG is for me. More
Yeah.
choice.
It's just,
You know?
I feel like what's important, if I'm trying to streamline my thought process about it, what's important to me about an RPG is that I feel like if my character didn't exist, this world would be something.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Final Fantasy 16, and I do feel bad now that we're just bashing it.
Yeah.
But it's like the game.
We have limited number of games that we can compare. It's fine.
The game, like, it only, like, the world exists because Clive exists.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's not because we've got any, like, great side characters that are doing their own things, except maybe Joshua. Like, there's, I don't know, I think, like, Geralt, if he didn't exist, the Witcher world exists.
Yeah, but none of us would want to
Novigrad
go.
goes on.
None of us would want to go to that world if Geralt didn't exist.
No, of course not.
But no, you're right. I mean, the world
Like,
is.
it needs to feel like it functions without me, and it needs to feel like like, I don't know. There's a hard balance because whatever I do, because I'm the protagonist, it has to make a difference in the world. But it can't be that everyone is waiting with bated breath on what I'm going to do. I think that's the defining difference for me. Like, the holistic choices that you can get from any, like, by building a certain way, by making specific choices with, like, how your character treats other characters. Yeah. Like, consequences, you know? Yeah. Consequences and holistic world
there
building.
were consequences in The Witcher.
As we know.
And I'm sure there are consequences in Baldur's Gate. I mean, we've been so nice to everyone so far that I think we haven't lost anyone along the way yet. But it's clearly, like, you can see in some of the choices, it's really possible to lose people.
For sure.
Very, very easily and early.
Hilariously, actually. So in our campaign, the one gripe that I might have, and we need to play more of it for me to actually understand, is that it seems like when we play our campaign together, all the NPCs know us the same.
Yeah,
so it's
as
like
a
the same relationship is established throughout the camp. And so, like, for instance, if you have Lae'zel as the person that you're controlling when we're in battle, and I've got Shadowheart, and then when we go to camp, we split that up and we separate all of the things that you did as Orwyn, Lae'zel is going to attribute to me once she's mine. And she won't talk to me unless... And
you're
I think,
controlling,
yeah, and I think that's probably the reason. I think I am right. I think our relationships are interchangeable depending on who's in your party. And like, I get it. I'm sure it's really fucking complicated.
No, the multiplayer...
to have two protagonists that make all the choices.
For sure.
I totally get it.
The multiplayer definitely is compromised.
Yeah.
It's still great.
It's still amazing.
And I think the joy of the multiplayer for us is the two of us just playing together.
Yeah, for sure.
But we are essentially treated as one entity in terms of the relationship mechanic
for sure
in the game.
And I think that's why as well,
because we keep fighting about who's going to sleep with who.
Yeah, and we haven't been successful yet.
No,
but we had like one of our.
We've both struck out.
Well, this is the issue though, because we didn't realize that was how the relationships were handled, and we basically just each went to everyone in camp being like, "Do you want to fuck?" Like it was like we just wanted to. It was like a race to see who could get it like happen.
Well, we
first.
both of our characters immediately raced over to Asterion.
Yeah.
and he's like,
Asterion, honey, and he was like, "Oh,
not you, darling."
He was disgusted by us.
So we both went to bed on our own.
Yeah, I went to Shadowheart then, and I was like, I think I'm close. I think
everyone's close with Shadowheart, though.
No, I don't think that's true at all.
No, I think that is true.
You know who it could be close to everyone though? Lae'zel just wants to fuck a warrior. Yeah. That's what she wants.
Yeah, but like I clearly did something wrong, and she's like, just imagine what you could have had here.
And it was because he went to Lae'zel last. And I think that's what happened.
You think that's the reason?
100%. Because we talked to everyone else at camp and be like, you, no takers, Lae'zel? And then she was like, imagine just what it could have been if you hadn't made the gravest mistake of your life. And then I was like, Lae'zel.
And this is like our first.
Did I make a mistake?
This is like our first opportunity to actually like sleep with anyone in the game.
Yeah.
Look, here we are talking.
Racing.
This is, so but bad. Like, this is a role-playing game, though. Yeah. Like, this is what a role-playing.
It should have consequences. For that. If we're going around and being like, "Does anyone want to fuck?" Then like it should have consequences.
But like the stories that we're creating here, like with these, like just talking about that one party in the game, like that's what an RPG is. And we're thinking, to just compare that for a moment to, Final Fantasy 16. Like that, we'll never have our own stories, right? Like Skyrim, for anyone that's played Skyrim. Yeah. Like the actual storylines in Skyrim, they're okay. They're not great. But
it's so cold.
Oh no.
It's just chocolate milk now. That's fine.
But the stories that you create for yourself in Skyrim really are the things that you have the memories of, the silly things that have happened in that game to you, And I think Baldur's Gate is the same. And I think any RPG worth its salt will have an element of that. Like you're able to, control the world in some way, control the character in some way.
And more, like to the point again of the world existing not just because of us. One thing that was really, really cute when we were going around that party and like having our ridiculous race was that like behind every conversation you could see like Scratch running around, the dog running around two other people, and the people were petting him. Like NPCs that we couldn't even talk to were petting Scratch and playing with him, and it was like the world is alive. Like there's
a perfect example of that not working with Torgal, because obviously there's a great dog in Final Fantasy 16, Torgal, and there's a moment like where you're walking through your hometown, your base, and there's two kids talking about him, and then there's no interaction.
Yeah.
And Torgal's just sitting there, and it's like, oh, I mean, it couldn't have been that hard to maybe put in some animations where he can interact with the people around.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have known that we were missing out if the kids hadn't been talking about Torgal.
Yeah, they brought our attention to it.
So it was like a very clear choice to be like, oh, there's the puppy kind of thing. And then they were just like...
Yeah.
You know, like there's just some... It felt... Poor Final Fantasy 16. But it feels like in a lot of ways, it got like, it had this far to go. And it went this far. You know? Like, there were steps that could have been taken narratively and in terms of graphics, in terms, because, like, the mouth's not lining up, or the faces, the body gestures never lining up with the way a person is speaking is something that I find really jarring. Yeah. And, like, just, I don't know, all of those things, like, it just never went far enough.
But then it goes... I would argue almost too far in these huge set pieces, which are okay. I mean, if anyone that says that they love Final Fantasy 16, that's probably the thing that they're going to say they love the most.
JRPG.
But I would like cut those in half, the amount of time you spend in them, and put all of that energy and development into just creating an actual RPG, like building out your item shop a bit, you know, like giving you the opportunity.
I love those big
They are awesome, but like that's where the development time in that game went.
But it's also the thing that's like, because you know what would keep me in the game? Big battle sequences. You know what won't keep me in the game? A better sword. You know. Like
another more sexy costumes for
oh, more slutty chemises. I think so another point to what I think qualifies as a good RPG, and then I don't know, maybe we'll need to wrap up. I'm not really sure how long I've been rambling on. Is the way you can interact with other characters. Like, are the other characters as fleshed out as if you were a person talking to a person? And I think that's really important because, like, and that's something that The Witcher gets wrong sometimes as well. Like, we put Witcher 3 on a pedestal, which it pretty rightly deserves. But, and this is true of the entire franchise, and one of the things that I've always said about it, The Witcher doesn't treat women like people. Like, they exist to fawn over Geralt. Every heroic deed, every amazing battle, everything amazing that they've ever done predates knowing Geralt, so that they can come to him and be like, she's the strongest sorceress I know, and now she's like hopelessly in love with me and can't think or function without
the
me.
Games are better than than the books. The games treat the women better, but still
they are better. But Sapkowski fucked it when it came to that whole thing. And like, that is what my dissertation is about.
I mean, I haven't played Witcher 1, Witcher 2, so I can't speak to them. In Witcher 3, certainly Triss is kind of not the most interesting character. Yennefer always, I think mostly because of the direction and the character model and the voice acting, always appears strong to me. Like, she doesn't do anything particularly great in the game. You know? Maybe a little unpleasant, but has a presence. You know, like, I believe that she has like had this history of being a great sorceress. And I think Ciri's like really well realized in those games.
Yeah, the games are definitely better for it.
But I know what you're saying about the books.
And like, they also like, if you try for Triss, for instance, if you try to be like, do the strong thing, go save your people, go be with the sorceresses, whatever, that's taken as like a point against you, and you don't get to be with Triss. In terms of your
relationship with her,
And it's like, what? I was like, I said, please go be an independent woman and do the thing you're passionate about. I'm not going to say, like, please stay in Novigrad where they're going to try to murder you because I want you around so that I can come fuck you sometimes. Like, it's so bizarre. certain
But I mean,
choices.
as
But
bad as The Witcher is about it, like Final Fantasy 16 is really bad
Jill.
about this.
Jill has
Jill
been
is
slighted.
is such an unfortunate voice actress is great. The
I was so
the
looking
character model
forward
is
to what they were
beautiful.
doing.
And she is the most uninteresting waste of space to the point that we've played.
Yeah.
I must say.
We don't know if there's a redemption or anything, but it doesn't seem like there will be, because it seems like she's like, I've defeated the person who made me, and now I'm going to be your sword, and never speak again.
She is there just for Clive.
Yeah, for sure. She does not exist outside of him, and that's sad.
Yeah. No, but like clearly, like you are how those characters interact with other characters. To your point about them not feeling like they're the center of the universe, like that's really important. That like yes, your actions have consequences, but there are other people in this too.
And like even that like Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3, she's got a problem with fucking everyone. But the fact that she has a problem with people is something. You know, like she has an issue with Githyanki. Is that what Lizelle is?
Yeah.
She just generally has an issue with that.
Like straight out at the beginning of the game is like, you don't like Githyanki, do you?
Yeah, she's rough.
Yeah.
She's like, woo. And she like thinks Gale is kind of annoying, and she's like, you don't trust the pale one, do you? Talking about Asterion and all this stuff, and it's like I love when characters actually just like have opinions about each other. Will and Karlach and that, you know, like they have lives that we have stumbled upon, that we are now a part of spontaneously, you know, like I think that's really important. Yeah.
No, RPGs are definitely have always been one of my favorite games, types of games.
Touched
And
really
I'm glad
on JRPGs.
I'm really glad to see that more games have taken a lot of the really good elements of RPGs and put them into theirs, even if their game isn't an RPG. God of War being a really good example.
Yeah.
But I don't want the traditional RPGs, the Final Fantasies, to get less RPG.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Final Fantasy 16 is a good game. I think we will finish it. And clearly Final Fantasy 7, the remake, and I'm guessing Rebirth as well, are very much RPGs in terms of how you kind of flesh out those characters.
I loved Remake. Absolutely loved Remake. I have a tattoo for Remake.
Yeah.
But
so we will be continuing to play that Final Fantasy series.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing. All of this is taken with a grain of salt because we still are interested in all of these things, and we just like hope that they can take it to the next level. Because like I wouldn't call it a bad game. I just don't think it's very compelling.
It's a 7 out of 10 game for me so far. So
that is Ned's line. He will ruthlessly rip apart a game. He's like, but I'm enjoying it. It's an 8 out of 10 game. And I'm like, are you enjoying it? Because you just described it like it was a 3 out of 10. You know?
Yeah. No, because
for me, I think Final Fantasy 16 is like a 6 probably.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, let's finish it.
If you're shooting for median, like if you're shooting for like an average game should be what, like a 5, you know? Like 10 is extraordinary.
Yeah, I get you.
And then between that, and it's so like I think with all the gripes that I have for it and how much potential I think it actually does have and how far it actually goes so far, I think it's a 6 for me.
I get you.
No. No. Well, that was. I had planned as well to talk a little bit more for anyone who's concerned or cares. I have finished everything that I can about The Last of Us, except for Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, we've done The Last of Us, we've done the entire TV show, and we've done the DLC.
And the podcast I've gone through a few episodes of with Troy Baker, who
played Joel.
Hosts, but he hosts the podcast, and Neil Druckmann and the other writer,
the showrunner, I can't think of his name.
Oh no,
guy
that's
that did
bad
Chernobyl.
Yeah,
but great podcast. If you've
good.
watched the TV series and you haven't listened to that podcast,
they do an episode by episode breakdown,
and it's just really interesting to hear, particularly Troy and Neil talking about like why they changed this from the game, you know, and like it's really really interesting.
Yeah.
So we've been on that journey with the Last of Us, and I'd say probably
play part 2 in the new year.
in the new year. We've got a lot of Baldur's Gate to
We've
get
got
through.
like several hundred hours.
We are going to be super late to the game next year. We are falling even further behind in this.
Absolutely.
We've got Baldur's Gate and Final Fantasy 16 and The Last of Us 2, and at some stage, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth's going to
Oh my god!
get thrown in there. And I am going to be playing. Actually, we should say just before we go, we decided the other day what our Christmas games are going to be because we'll be spending some time away from each other over Christmas. I decided Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty is going to be my game. Jump back into that game. Can't wait. Really looking
like
forward to it.
The redemption arc of the gaming industry.
Yeah, for sure. So I can't wait to get stuck into that and talk about Cyberpunk on our one of our future episodes. What's your Christmas game going to be?
Stray Gods.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, very excited.
Like,
this.
I mean, it's a musical and it's a video game all at one time,
and
with one of my favorite composers.
And it's a D&D musical video game with
it's the Greek pantheon.
And Austin Wintory, like it
and
does
Troy Baker
does look amazing, and Laura Bailey and
Ashley Johnson,
lots of Last of Us.
It's my Last of Us like reunion.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about that. I don't want any spoilers from any of the community or from you. I really want to get into that at some stage as well. Yeah. Very interesting.
I might try to wrangle my sister into it because she also loves musicals and tentatively loves games. She loves games more than she gives them credit for. I see you.
So that's our Christmas games.
Yes.
Let us know what your thoughts on RPGs are. What makes a good RPG? What's your favorite RPG? What's your least favorite RPG? And what is your Christmas game going to be?
Yes.
We are going to be doing our awards on the next
episode.
And I think what might be a good idea is to put it into the Discord. We'll put our categories in there and let you guys say what you think are the favorite games are from the various different categories. One of which will be what our favorite trailer for a game that came out in 2023 is that we probably won't be able to play for 2 years. So, because this is the night before the Game Awards, which we're going to be watching tomorrow, and I can't wait to see all these trailers of games. So we love all of the games that are coming out, but we won't play them for a long time. I have my retirement set up.
Your retirement? That's a long ways away.
It's very late to the game.
But anyways, for anyone who isn't a part of the community Discord and would like to be, all the links will be in the description notes of either the podcast, wherever you're listening to it, or the video description. And for all other things related to Late to the Game and our lives, you can follow me at Elementally. That is the word element, ELLIE, and
Ned Kelly Gamer, Ned Kelly GMR, and I'm due to make my annual post on Instagram at some stage soon. So
I tag him in a lot of things though, so that kind of counts for a bit of presence.
She does.
But anyways, thank you so much for joining, for watching, listening, subscribing, liking, anything that you did to interact with this podcast. And we will see you next time for the Game of the Year Awards for the Late to the Game gang.
Happy Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Bye!
I think that's one of our better episodes.
Do ya?